It was the biggest water polo tournament in the Southern Hemisphere, if not the world, with 107 teams taking part, and what a weekend for the host club Central Newcastle. In the men's A-grade final, Central Newcastle hung on bravely to defeat Services by 1 goal in one of the best matches seen in the national country titles for many years. And incredibly, Central Newcastle pulled off the unlikely double, winning the women's A-grade final, taking the title from Barrel in another cliffhanger by 1 solitary goal. To close out the championships, the men's B-grade title was a win for the Tamworth Sings when they proved too good for the North Albury team. Organisers were ecstatic with the calibre of play over the entire long weekend.
The tax came in last year, replacing the wool floor scheme. Growers are levied 12% on their gross wool cheque to pay off a $2 billion industry debt, plus promotion and development fees. But today, a spokesman for Primary Industries Minister Simon Crean confirmed that may be cut back, giving industry officials an optimistic outlook.
A reduction of 2% would mean between $1,000 and $1,200, depending on the value of the wool.
According to the New South Wales Farmers Association, the average wool grower will receive a negative return this year, so a saving of $1,000 would have a substantial impact. The speculation comes with an unexpected reduction in the 4 million bale wool stockpile due to the effect of drought on local production. Simon Crean has supported the call for cutbacks but says meetings within the industry will confirm if it can be done. A decision is expected in March. Meanwhile, a rumour that the Newcastle Wool Centre will be closed has been denied by the local trade committee.
It's the biggest fine wool selling centre in Australia and in the world for that matter, so I think as far as any idea of closure at this stage, I don't think you'll see it eventuate.
More than 5,000 people witnessed the parade on Saturday, a parade described as the largest in 18 years. Other events also drew big crowds, with more than 10,000 people attending the 5-day aquatic festival. Gate takings reached $28,000. According to organisers, it was very much a festival of the people, given outstanding support by local businesses and a host of other organisations. One of the festival highlights, the powerboat racing, drew drivers from all over the state. The most successful boat was Sea Breeze, driven by Henry Eitz, winning 5 races with a second and third in 2 others. The best local effort came from Vengeance, driven by Laurie Deege, who won 6 unlimited outboard events.
Tim Maluish has been driving taxis for 26 years, but he encountered his first real trouble early this morning. About 1 a.m, he picked up 2 youths from a taxi rank in Mayfield. When he stopped at Park Avenue, Katara, they ordered him to turn off the engine. Then they hit him about the head with a blunt instrument and stole $120.
I suppose it might have flashed my mind, are they going to, are they going to murder me? I didn't get that frightened, but I thought they were going to hit. I just thought, gee, they're going to hit me. They mean business.
When the driver got into trouble last night, an alarm was activated in his car, which was instantly received here at the Hamilton base. Police and other taxi drivers immediately went to his assistance. In spite of losing a lot of blood, Maluish drove himself to the John Hunter Hospital where his wound was stitched. Tim was determined to return to work today.
I just feel I should, because it's just like getting back on a horse after you've fallen off it.
The police examined the taxi for fingerprints this morning. George Barlow owns Tim's cab. Coincidentally, he was one of the taxi drivers who went to assist him last night.
Courts themselves need to do something very harsh in penalties and just give an example to these guys that you just can't go around assaulting taxi drivers for the fun of it.
Police investigations are continuing. Jane Anderson, NBN News.
%43% of coal companies last year recorded losses. Overall profit for the association was $103 million compared with $143 for the year before. It's only the second time in the last 9 years that the industry has recorded any profit at all. According to Association Chairman Tony Haroldson, the result reflects a fall in the value per tonne of coal, a high Australian dollar, and the fact that average wages increased faster than productivity. Mr Haroldson also blames high state rail charges for the profit loss and says on a kilometre per tonne basis, New South Wales freight charges are higher than our major competitors. However, on the positive side were significant reductions in coal-loaded charges at Newcastle and Port Kembla and a fall in time lost due to industrial disputes. This year's outlook is much brighter for the association. The dollar has fallen and exports are up. OK, so it's not the Benson and Hedges series, but come Sunday, Gunneda's Kitchener Park will ring to the crack of Willow on Leather. Tamworth, Narrabri, Gunnedah and Manila do battle this weekend in a competition which the players have affectionately dubbed the Pyjama Game. Certainly the colourful clothes, the white ball and the black side screens will be in place.
Gunnedah will play Manila in the opening match, and then at 1 o'clock Tamworth will go in against Narrabri, and there'll be two very interesting games, and perhaps Gunnedah just slightly the favourite at the moment.
Sunday's winners will clash next week in the final, also set down for Gunnedah. The word is the home side has what it takes to go all the way.
The recent performances against Tamworth in the last round of the Northwest Series would give them favouritism, but they've always had some trouble with Manila, so that could be an interesting game, the opening match. And Tamworth and Narrabri also very hard to beat.
Newcastle Lord Mayor John McNaughton bemoans the fact that the robes he wears on special occasions are showing telltale signs of 40 years of wear and tear.
The fact of the matter is the robe is shabby. There's no doubt about that.
Council was to discuss buying new robes at an estimated cost of $25,000. But the thought of big spending on power dressing in a recession outraged some aldermen and the community. So last night, Alderman McNaughton successfully moved that at this stage, Council should only seek quotes for new robes, even if the civic threads are starting to look threadbare.
The decision has not been taken to purchase or not to purchase. In due course, when we know the issues, a decision will be made. I don't know.
While Alderman McNaughton makes do with the old robes, Lake Macquarie City Council is looking for a new voice in the form of a town crier.
To assist us on special events that take place in Lake Macquarie.
Alderman Carley says a Central Coast man approached Council crying out for the job, but he says his ears are open to locals. But what kind of person is Alderman Carley listening out for in a town crier?
A person that has a great voice.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Good citizens of Lake Macquarie.
That can draw attention to himself.
On this, the 29th day of January,
in the year of our Lord 1992.
I suppose a personality which people gravitate toward.
I wish to proclaim my interest
in the position of town crier. Seen as the cultural centrepiece of Newcastle for decades, the Civic Theatre has been showing its age in recent years, but the long-awaited push for refurbishment of the Civic has finally been given the go-ahead by Newcastle City Council, which has approved $3.5 million in upgrading work. While this initial stage will see major exterior changes and the installation of new seating, Lord Mayor John McNaughton admits it's only a fraction of the planned $12 million facelift.
It's about a quarter of the total work that we want to do, and I must confess I've still got a secret hope that we'll be able to roll a bit more into this stage and do it at worst 3 stages, hopefully 2.
But the Hunter Association of Performing Arts Companies is not entirely enthusiastic about the announcement. The association says the Civic is already underutilised and it costs as much to rent this venue as it does a theatre at the Sydney Opera House. The performing artists' major concern is that once the refurbishment is done, the Civic Theatre will be way beyond the financial reach of any local company. The association has already submitted one report to Council and is about to release another outlining its grievances. But Alderman McNaughton says the artists need not be concerned.
We're looking at that to see a structure that can see that everybody is satisfied. It is a city facility.
The Port Stephens dolphins have so far managed to share the waterway with humans, often seeking contact with the port's regular charter boats, some of which now offer dolphin watch cruises. Passengers marvel as the dolphins play in the bow waves. At other times, the herds can be seen close to shore chasing fish. Joe Tremaine of Nelson Bay has compiled a booklet on the dolphins, in the hope that people can learn to appreciate them in their natural surroundings.
I thought in letting them know a bit more about it, they'd understand the conservation of the dolphin and helping them survive in the area, understand and admiring them in their natural wild state.
The book is available through the local tourist information office for a couple of dollars. Dolphin watchers can enter their own observations.
It's really made up like a passport, so you can write details down of what beach you've seen them at, what the dolphin looks like. The dorsal fin is actually like a fingerprint to the dolphin.
Once publishing costs are covered, proceeds will go to further dolphin research in the area.
Port Stephens is a beautiful inlet of water, and the dolphins realise this, and there's actually about 5 families of anything up to 10 dolphins. So they really enjoy this area as we do.
TAFE enrolments opened earlier this week, but there are still vacancies in full-time training programs. Taree College of TAFE is just one centre offering courses similar to those which university hopefuls may have missed out on.
We can offer some of those courses for them in Associate Diploma in Accountancy, Associate Diploma in Child Studies, and some of our full-time training programs in Secretarial Studies and Farm Technology. So, you know, people should be coming to the TAFE colleges to find out what courses we have got for them right throughout the state, and in particular to Taree and Tuncurry.
Taree TAFE draws students not only from the Manning region, but also from Ballina, Grafton and Lismore and west to Inverell. According to Mr Sharp, TAFE courses are not considered lightweight and are highly respected by employers.
Predominantly, and the thrust from TAFE now is to provide vocational training and if the jobs are available out there, then TAFE is the place to go for your vocational training.
Taree TAFE, like others throughout the state, has suffered funding cuts this year. At Taree, a 30% cutback has had a dramatic effect on courses offered, particularly in the visual arts area. There's been no full-time staff cuts, but the part-time staff has been cut by half. Despite the cutbacks, some new areas of study have been introduced.
One of the courses is desktop publishing, one that our staff have been surveying the industries and commerce, and therefore we're offering that one this time for the first time.
This group of potential students found out the good or bad news this afternoon. They'd all applied for places in occupational studies, pre-apprenticeship courses in trades like bricklaying and carpentry. But not all were accepted. Demand for places outweighed availability. TAFEs across the region have been kept extremely busy for the past 3 days, taking enrolments, many from students who'd missed out on university.
TAFE has become a real option for people, and in associate diploma areas, for example, where they can do 2 years study in TAFE and get an associate diploma, there's quite an option to get credits into advanced standing in a university course.
Tony Brady says the TAFE system has in part altered its structure to cope with the increased demand. Some part-time courses have been dropped to increase the number of full-time courses available, particularly in the associate diploma area.
But the general trend seems to be that there are places available in things like a certificate of occupational studies looking at building courses or automotive courses, and specifically in office courses where people are trained in office skills and word processing and those types of activities. Most of the colleges have got that available, and most of the colleges have got spaces available.
Although enrolments officially closed this afternoon, some colleges will still take new students next week if there are places available.
Hospital staff, board members and the fundraising committee all gathered poolside to celebrate the completion of the project. Since 1989, $400,000 has been raised in the northwest to pay for the construction of the pool. It is 17 metres long and 8.5 metres wide, holding 180,000 litres of water, which will be heated to 31 degrees Celsius.
This is the only, shall I say, completely monitored therapeutic hydrotherapy pool in the whole of the region.
The only other hydrotherapy centre in the region is at Armidale. The Tamworth pool will be used by a multitude of groups, from patients at the brain injury unit to asthmatics and arthritis sufferers. The pool will be operational in about 3 weeks.
The huge 20-tonne granite rocks which make up the standing stones have been placed in a lookout above Glen Innes. The stones have been put in place to celebrate Australia's, and particularly New England's, Celtic past. Tomorrow the project will be officially opened, and thousands of visitors are expected to brave the variable highland weather for the celebration.
First up in the morning we'll have the lone piper here at about 10 to 6. Then at as the sun rises, we'll have a beautiful Welsh choir, the Newcastle Cambrian Singers, which are recognised as one of the best Welsh choirs in Australia. From there on, you'll see pipe bands in the streets. All the official part starts at 11:30, the procession. The governor arrives about 12:50, and from 1 o'clock to 2:15 is the official part of the proceedings.
The project is the only one of its kind in Australia and cost thousands of dollars. It's expected to become one of the town's best-known tourist attractions.
The alarm was raised at 5 o'clock last night by a neighbour who discovered the mutilated body in the victim's dilapidated cottage on the Wollumbai Road. The neighbour had come to the house to retrieve some borrowed tools. Upon entering, he found the deceased lying face up in the hallway. The dead man had multiple stab wounds to the face and chest area. Today, crime scene detectives and local police searched the house for a weapon and other clues. Police say the man, who was on sickness benefits, led an eccentric life and was a known alcoholic. He'd moved to the area from the Central Coast 4 years ago, but was a loner, mostly keeping to himself.
At the moment, it's causing some difficulties because he had no close friends, no associates that we can establish at this stage.
The 37-year-old man was last seen alive around lunchtime yesterday walking down the main street. Cessnock police are asking anyone who may have seen or known the deceased to contact them. The incident has rocked the small community, which still recalls an unsolved murder that occurred less than 2 years ago. 66-year-old George Woodcock was bludgeoned to death in the bedroom of his Western home. At this stage, police don't believe the two are linked. Catherine Lamond, NBN News. Ron Bedford was confined to a wheelchair 3 years ago after falling 9 metres from scaffolding. But that hasn't dampened his determination nor his strive for independence. That became obvious to Coffs Harbour residents who recently caught Ron in action, demonstrating his travelling towing business. It's not the first time Ron's attempted such a feat. He's also been seen around town with a Commodore and a 4-tonne truck in tow. But towing's not the only thing he does. He sells balloons on the side. Doctors tell Ron he may be out of the wheelchair in 6 months, just in time to stand beside his fiancée at their wedding. But his ultimate dream involves one more towing.
I'm going to go to Perth and tow a 15-tonne Mack truck behind my wheelchair, and that will definitely fulfil me. Yes, it is. That's my dream.
One woman and 2 men were ordained deacons at Christchurch Cathedral. The ceremony was especially significant as one of those assisting at the ordination was the Reverend Julia Perry, one of 9 women deacons still waiting to become priests. Bishop of Newcastle, the Right Reverend Alfred Holland ordained Brian Douglas, Rod Bauer and Mari Armstrong in a service which included the ancient laying on of hands. All those ordained will take up their appointments in the Hunter Valley. Meanwhile, it's believed the next General Synod of the Anglican Church, to be held in Sydney in July, will once again grapple with the legal complexities of ordaining women priests.
Following a tip-off, Cessnock police located 230 cannabis plants growing in 50 pots in a blackberry patch in the Becolban area. Each plant has a potential street value of $2,000. Police estimate the healthy crop to be between 4 and 6 months old. Next week, the plants will be analysed, then destroyed. Police have no suspects.